Previously.
1, 2, 3.
X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
Your friends are over there.
No, my friends are right here. Welcome to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. I am one of your hosts.
You know that lunatic?
I am that lunatic, Davin. And with me, as always, is my co-host,
What's wrong, old man?
who just had a birthday. He's an old
Right.
man now, just like me.
Still younger than you,
Damn it.
I think.
One of these days, that's going to change.
How old are you now, Devin?
40.
Okay, I'm 39. I'm like a whole year below you.
Yeah, young man.
That will change, but the only way that's going to change is if you die. So you gotta hope it doesn't change.
You're gonna learn a lot from my mentoring and all that kind of stuff here.
Are you gonna mentor me as a ghost?
What? What?
You said that someday that'll change, so that I'll be, you won't be older than me. I said the only way that happens is if you die. So you better hope that you always stay older than me.
That's a fair point. And we have a guest here tonight.
You lost it, pal.
Paul. You've lost it, Paul.
A nice little bit of Don Franks there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I was floored when I found out he was the guy from. I'm a big horror dude, and he was in the movie My Bloody Valentine, which was filmed in Nova Scotia where we live. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, in Sydney Mines in Cape Breton.
Yeah, I love that. I love all those horror pictures. There was something great about the kind of some of the Toronto, Canada in general horror films, like the Brain and what else?
Cool. That's a great one.
Well, the Brain stars the Beast himself there.
Yes,
as well,
yeah,
right?
it does, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does.
Yeah,
we talked about him about that when he was on the show.
Oh, really?
There's an interesting time period when there were like tax credits for like making movies in Canada, and that's how David Cronenberg kind of got his start. Yeah, and they call it Connexploitation films. And like Cronenberg's interesting because like a lot of people when they saw his movie Shivers, which is a really cool movie, but if you're not a horror fan, it's probably not for you.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's a lot of backlash that taxpayers like our money's going to make these things,
No,
but they're really cool movies and
they're wonderful. I love what's the one about the zombie girl? The who spreads the disease.
The girl with all the gifts. That one.
No, I've got it on the shelf over there. I can't think of the name of the thing.
Is it Schwarzenegger's not in it? Is he?
No. It's one of his first ones. It's called. What is it?
One of Cronenberg's first ones. Sorry. It's called. I know that one. It's Rabbit.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
With Marilyn Chambers, I think, plays her in
there. That's right. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. Wonderful film.
Yeah, it's a great one. And Shivers was like the one where it's like an apartment building and they're all.
That's right.
Like these weird worm things. It's kind of like the movie Slither with that James Gunn did. Is sort of, I think definitely embraced by it somewhat because it's also little worm things that can crawl into people. So.
Oh, this stuff's so inspired by what came before, isn't it? It's just it was the era of kind of the great horror film, and it's constantly a source of inspiration.
Yeah, there's still a lot of good stuff coming. It's nice.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
it's a lot of it's like you got to look for the non-mainstream stuff. Usually, it's like weird A24 movies or something is where it's at. But so it's we're not talking about anything else but horror movies tonight, right, Dev? Okay, good.
You know what? I celebrate 2 months of Halloween, so I'm all for it.
I'd celebrate a whole year of it if I could. I guess
I would too. I
do like Christmas, so it's nice to have. But I wouldn't mind Halloween up until December. Then we can have Christmas.
But Paul Harris is here with us from the Britons.
Mm-hmm. No.
Where are you at in Britain?
I'm in North London. And it's surprisingly hot tonight. It was kind of cold earlier, and now it's got really warm. It's been a very kind of hot, humid summer,
Yeah.
Same with
I'm
here, Nova Scotia. We probably
Oh,
have very
really?
similar weather, right?
Yeah,
Weather just sticks to you, right? Like,
yeah. I just
Yeah.
hate it, and I sound so British, so moaning about it. You know,
that's all we do here as
Yeah.
well.
No, not necessarily. I mean, it's been quite warm here, very much so. I recently got a form of air conditioning we have out here called heat pumps, and I'm this summer has been much more tolerable than previous years have been for that reason. At
Right.
least I can hide in my house and get away from it.
No, the air conditioning doesn't really exist in England. It's everyone moans about the humidity, but no one would ever think to fix it. I think it gives us a good excuse to sort of be miserable.
Yeah, I was going to say there's something profoundly British about that. About just instead of actually changing the bad thing, just complaining, just stiff upper lipping your way through it, and then complaining about it.
Well, the houses, it's like the complaints about the houses are they're cold in the winter because of the brickwork, and they hold the heat in the summer because of the brickwork. So,
That's lovely.
But this is our X-Men TAS cast list and extras episode because Paul reached out to us and he's done some digging, some sleuthing, I guess. Well, you know what? Let's figure that out. Paul, I'm used to being the biggest enigma in the room, but that may not be the case here. So you're over there in England, but you report on blues.
Yes, yeah. Well,
so what's the connection to Canada? Because I know you seem to be into a lot of like Canadian blues, and of course this Canadian cast list. What's the connection there?
Most of it happened by chance. The whole Canada thing. It's but I'm sort of a writer. I've written a few plays and stuff like that. And as you say, articles on blues, pre-war blues and jazz mainly. And then during COVID, wonderful, great stuff. But during COVID, I sort of was, I think like everyone, I was treading water, and and this cartoon, I think to anyone our age, this cartoon meant an awful lot to them because it sort of was something very different at the time. My friend Kat, she doesn't know anything about the X-Men, but she knows the theme tune, and I think that speaks to how big this was. And how
good that tune is.
Yeah, fantastic. Was it Wasserman? Wasserman, is it?
Yeah, Ron Wasserman.
Yeah. And so during COVID, I was sort of thinking about writing something, but I just thought, well, that's an interesting challenge because I was a very weird kid. I used to copy the credits out of BBC radio cassette tapes. I had this thing about knowing who did who in the radio plays.
Oh, really?
So,
you're among friends here.
Oh
yeah. You found your tribe, my friend. This is where we hang out.
Weird stuff, probably stuff you've never heard of, like Julian and Sandy, one of them with a guy called Kenneth Williams, and I can't think of the other guy's name. Old kind of comedies, which I probably shouldn't have been listening to when I was like 4 or something like that. And it was about these two gay guys who spoke in sort of the Polari, that was sort of the gay language, it was sort of to hide, because obviously it was illegal in the 60s when this show was done. And I loved it as a kid. I was like obsessed with these characters. And so I used to always, anything like that, Sherlock Holmes. The BBC actually did a very good version of Batman and Superman on the radio.
Really?
Yeah, excellent versions. Probably the most authentic to the comics ever.
Did they have British accents?
No, they used to get the kind of the American or Canadians who happened to be living here. And they would do, they would clean up.
Oh man, I missed my era. I could have been like Superman or Batman on a British.
Certainly,
play. That would have been amazing.
Well, I did. I've done a bit of.
Oh no, you had to be Trudeau's most famous man, Trudeau. Or Andre.
Well, that was many decades later, but a friend of mine used to convince me. I do some acting and stage stuff as well, Paul.
Oh yeah.
And a friend of mine was trying to convince me one time. This is before he had kids, so he's kind of tied down now. But he was saying how he wanted me to move with him to India to be in the bad guy in Bollywood movies, because they always want,
I
like,
see. Right.
they often want white guys to play the villains in those movies.
Right.
And if they can get someone that can act, you can kind of, have a career, I guess.
That's interesting. It's similar with China. I think a lot of people move to China, Americans, and to do to clean up, doing ads and stuff like that. There.
Oh yeah, well, those you have to be somewhere first before they give you that. So
yeah.
But I think there's like very famously, there's some I think it's a Japanese or Chinese kung fu movie from like the early 2000s that Paul Rudd is in. He plays like a bad guy in it.
Oh, okay.
It's like before he has a really spiky frosted tipped hair. It was around that time period. So it's every once in a while it shows up in some kind of like an ad or something, remembering like, hey, look at this stupid thing Paul Rudd did.
Yeah. No, that's
so.
Sorry.
No,
I was gonna say, why don't you tell us where you found this one first off here, Paul? Just to bring it back to X-Men for a second, because we could talk about blues and horror all day. But why don't you explain this image here?
Well, that was from my childhood. It was that was one of my actual old tapes. We got Britain are notoriously bad for releasing things on VHS. Then they would release sort of weird compilations. They would never release any more than kind of a few episodes. Always very hard to get anything. And they decided to do these 3 volumes of X-Men, but it was starting from episode, I think, 67 through to the one just before the last episode.
Interesting.
So it was a really weird trio of videotapes, and that was on the back of the. It's not the Mr. Sinister episode, but you could tell it's from that Victorian thing. And you could tell it's a still as well. It's not a piece of kind of artwork for the thing. You can see it's kind of the cell shading. So it was, again, a weird kid. I kind of knew it wasn't in the episode and obsessed over it. And things like that. That's
awesome.
I don't know. Yeah.
That episode, that's even just reading that, like, if you bring that back up, Devin.
Yeah.
The Fifth Horseman, the Mayan one.
Mm-hmm.
I totally forgot about that episode.
Yeah. That episode. Yeah.
It's a very forgettable episode.
Jubilee's Fairy Tale Theater, one of our most popular episode reviews.
Yeah.
Interesting combo of movies, though. This is very Jubilee centric, I guess.
Yeah.
For some reason, Sinister is in that's funny.
And look where Long Shot's place, like that got bumped way up in our release schedule. It's like in season 4.
That was the British placement on the list I said. They're all in the British broadcast order, which I think, in a strange way, if you look at the animation in them, it kind of actually fits because there's very subtle changes in the animation, and probably sound like a maniac talking now, like real obsessive, but you do see it more in that order. So it must have been a later, because it wouldn't be something that was specifically done for the UK. It must have been something they were sent at some point by the studios in America, I imagine.
Well, it's the same animation studio that did Long Shot, so it was made later, but somehow it got bumped up in our release schedule.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because they kept delaying that episode. Like, it was supposed to be like a season 3 episode. They just kept bumping it back and sending it back to the studio because they kept thinking the art wasn't good enough. I didn't know that. Yeah. So whenever they could get that one out there, I guess they just squeaked it out there.
Yeah.
But so this cast list. So what brought you to this?
Yeah, sorry, I was rambling.
No, ramble away. This is good stuff. We like this.
I do tend to waffle, but it was so COVID. I was sort of as I say, treading water, and I thought, well, I knew, because from when I was a child, I used to pause the TV and try and get the cast list, and I knew from X-Men it was like you got a few names, sometimes you got nothing. Now, this was hard work in the 90s because first of all you had to tape it to pause it. And then when you paused it, you'd get the interference.
Yeah.
So you'd have to re-pause it to try and move it up to get the name below the,
I've done that before for sure.
I remember, like, when I was a kid, I used to tape every single episode of like WWE Raw and SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
They were on weekly, so like I would go through a cassette in like 3 weeks because you can only get 6 hours. But you're sitting there with
yeah.
on the pause to pause the recording when you're at the
Yeah.
commercials, and it was that struggle was real back in the day.
It was, wasn't it? It wasn't.
It sure was.
Kids don't understand that today.
They certainly
the
do not.
hardships.
Yeah, that's it. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know, man. You don't know what. Yeah, you start to feel old now. You guys don't know how
but
good you
before
got
time.
it now with your streaming services and
You guys get to watch things when you want to watch them.
Yeah,
exactly.
And you didn't have to like put up with commercials or a bunch of other bullshit just to get to the stuff. Yeah.
That's one thing I will say for Britain. We had it. I think it was on BBC Two, maybe, and it had no commercials. It was just because they don't advertise because it's a public service. So
lovely.
yeah.
I wish well, we have the CBC here, which I'm sure is acquired by the BBC, but they certainly do have advertising.
They both have Coronation Street.
That's true. They sure do. Boy, do they. My mom still watches that show.
Oh, does she? How many years behind are they now? Because I know they were quite a while behind. When I was in Canada, it was on, and I was like, it was a few years behind. Ken Barlow,
I always just thought it was reruns being recycled. I don't know if they even keep up.
Oh,
maybe they do. Maybe they
still
do.
going strong. It's
yeah. I didn't realize that they're behind, so you could like give the scoop when you come in.
I think so. Yeah. Not that I know as I say, the only constant with Coronation Street is that Ken Barlow is still somewhere involved. I think he's been involved with the series for about 2,000 years now.
Is that the old bald guy that kind of looks like Alfred Hitchcock with the really deep voice?
No. This is the grey-haired guy who's always sort of very boring.
I know who you mean. Yeah. Like they even write his scenes around like being super boring and that sort of the humor.
Yeah,
right?
they do. Yeah.
I know
He used to have some great fights. They used to always get him involved in a fight because it would surprise everyone. But
you just throwing judo moves, like really kicking ass. Yeah. I don't know. British television has made some of the best, in my opinion, some of the best TV around. So I mean, I'm an avid Doctor Who fan. I always have.
Oh, really? Yeah.
My favorite show is The Detectorists. Do you know that one?
Oh, with Toby Jones. I've not seen it, but
I do like Toby Jones
and Mackenzie Crook. It's really good. Really good.
Like the Stephen Moffat's Dracula show I really dug. His Sherlock show obviously is great. One of my favorite shows that I always tell people to watch is Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. I love that show.
Very, very few people. I've been recommending that since about 2004 or whenever it came out. Mm-hmm. Very few people ever give it the time of day. What a great show.
It's so
good.
My
name is Garth Marenghi.
Dark Place. I still love the opening sequence with Dean Lerner where he's like, or not Dean, whatever Richard Ayoade's character played. But when he was like yelling at him, and like for those of you listening, the show is purposefully supposed to be a bad 80s TV show with rough editing and all this stuff. And he's like, he's holding a shovel and he's yelling at someone, and then it turns to a coffee cup. Well, he's still young, and then turns back to a shovel, and then when it comes back to the end, to illustrate his point, he crushes the coffee cup. And like,
it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
I love my favorite one was when they were chasing someone. I can't remember what they're doing, and it's like they've run out of footage. They have to dub in his character, and you just hear him go, "Careful, he's got a stick." And
there's one where it's all about some space disease that like turns you into a plant or something, and it's like, and he's like, he goes like, and it's very heavy-handed allegory. And at the end, he's like, obviously the space disease is AIDS, like it's just like he's trying to dance around it, and then he just like overtly says it. It's so good. I even watched like Matthew Holness did this really strange horror movie called.
I loved that film.
The
spider head.
The puppet thing. Possum.
Possum. Yeah. Great. Really. Really.
I really dug it. It's super low budget, but it's really good.
And I love that guy who's in it. Sean, is it Sean something?
He was in Prometheus and Mission Impossible, the last couple of them.
Yeah.
He always plays like a lunatic. He was in The Green Knight. He played somebody in that too.
I've not seen that yet.
It's a good movie.
No.
Awesome. So you've come across some discrepancies with what the way that the character the cast lists with what is actual between your findings.
Yeah, it was as I say, I was sort of started looking into this, and I had a couple of scripts here. I think I might have told you this in the message, but when I was talking to Don Franks years before about Blues, he sent me a couple of signed scripts. Now I don't think he collected these things, so he's probably given them. So I hope whoever gave them to him isn't listening, because he just, when I mentioned that I liked the Silver Surfer, sent them over, and so then I kind of, and because I already knew a little bit about the cast not being credited, because as I said, I was a crazy kid, there were all these signatures all over the front of it that were basically indecipherable. And so I kind of worked out who they were, and then I thought, okay, that's interesting. And then during COVID, as I say, I kind of got the idea, maybe there's something in this, actually trying to track these people down, because they were the first Marvel sort of stars to us anyway. It didn't matter if we knew who they were. They were, they were really impressive voices. And there are so many of the voices who sadly don't get the recognition they deserve, because it's like, who was the first Apocalypse voice?
John Colicos.
That's good. Right. He's credited with way more episodes than he did.
Oh, really?
So James Blendick, who is the one who says the line about the rocks of the eternal shore.
Eternal shore.
Yeah, like one of the most iconic lines.
Yeah, he's not credited with that line. It's everyone thinks it's
Colicos.
That's right.
Because it sounds like something Colicos would say.
Yes, yeah. But Blendick did most of it, because he took over from that episode, I think, right through until the Beyond Good and Evil episode. And then the last one was Lorne Kennedy, and he did his voice in the games. I don't know if you ever played any of the old X-Men games.
Oh, for sure.
He was like the constant Apocalypse in the games, the Street Fighter games.
Nice.
So it's stuff like that. And I think these people, whether they want it or not, they probably don't need it. They probably don't care. They're Shakespearean actors. They don't care about, whether James Blendick, I doubt, cares if he was Apocalypse or not. But I think people should be able to have that credit if that was their voice and they were used in the episode. Certainly it should be down somewhere. The interesting one is Moira, because it was always down as just one voice, but there's 3 Moiras throughout the series. And they sort of chop and change. It's like Lally Cadeau, I think, was the first Moira.
I talked a bit with Lally Cadeau. She was the first one, I believe.
Yeah, she was the first one. Then it was...
she almost did the show. She almost came on the show.
Oh, really? Oh, it'd be nice.
Davin scared her off. No, that's not true.
Look, Lawrence Bain loved my marriage proposal, so I didn't.
I mean, I think you and Lawrence would be very happy together.
He's got a great voice, Lawrence Bain.
Oh, he was a great guest.
He's
a great guy.
Yeah.
Friend of the show.
He's great. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, he's fabulous. But yeah, so the Moira's changed several times, and it's just loads of them. They're miscredited, because IMDb, I think, back when this show would have been updated, it was like anything goes with IMDb. I think people probably just guessed and made stuff up. And I spoke to Karen Gura, the casting director, and she was saying she thinks a lot of the people who were sort of involved in maybe some of the games added themselves to the cast list of the series instead, and all stuff like that went on.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird one. It's become so messy, because I think this stuff became sort of it's almost regarded as semi-official what's on IMDb. But the problem is with the list now, it's grown so massive. At first, there were like 3 publishers who I was speaking to about getting this article published. But now the list, I keep talking about part of it, maybe the best few names, because of the word counts. And I think that kind of defeats the object. I mean, I've ended up getting busy with something else now. But once this is done, I want to kind of maybe try and find a website that will host it or something like that, because it has got a bit crazy, the amount of names that are on there now.
I'm sure you probably shouldn't have too much trouble with that. I mean, we got Bleeding Cool. Bleeding Cool posted one of ours because we Lawrence Bain.
Oh, okay.
Lawrence Bain, was it Lawrence? That was from Lawrence's interview where he said that he was on it, but he wasn't playing cable.
Yeah,
I think it was the first time he'd said that. So
okay.
yeah,
He's like, but I can't
that's
tell you anything
interesting.
else. I'm like, well, nobody even knew that.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, yeah, you're like, he's like, well, you got enough out of that. It's like, we didn't even ask for it, but we're happy. Like,
Yeah.
thanks for telling us.
that was great.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
quite smooth.
I do have your. Do you mind if I bring your cast list up here?
No, not at all.
Because I do have it right here. So, because there's a couple things I think that could be interesting.
Sorry,
to talk about.
I've just spilt coffee all down my face. That's good.
Oh, no worries.
Oh,
What,
sweet.
great
Now we
luck.
match.
what time is
Great
it
that I'm
over
on
there?
camera.
Actually,
It's
What time is it over there?
1:47.
in the morning.
Coffee.
Yeah, I'm normally a night owl anyway, so I'm sort
Oh,
of
that's good.
up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's already like 4 a.m. to me because I'm not a night owl. But
I very much am, but sometimes I have my own.
We're good balance here, Andre.
I have a separate podcast where I just interview folks that do different, stuff in comics or just anything.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And often, they'll like sometimes when they want to do a late night one, I'm like, oh, thank God.
Mhm.
So this makes it so easy. Yeah, Graphic Histories podcast. Check it out if you get a chance.
I will.
Cool
Yeah.
I just recently had to get
It is
the
a great show.
speaking of nostalgia sort of dives, I just had the guy, the creator of Darkwing Duck on the show, so that was really fun.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I
Tad
love
Stones.
They got dangerous.
I've got up in the cupboard up there. I've got a from again another weird trait as a kid. I've got a still sealed bush root.
Wow, cool.
That would sound probably dodgy if I said that to anyone else, but you know what still sealed
Oh yes,
bush
yeah,
root
no, that's
is.
super cool.
Yeah.
It was neat. Yeah, it was fun. It was interesting chat. He worked on like Chip and Dale, the Rescue Rangers as well, and he was actually he was the director of like the Aladdin sequels, like the straight to DVD ones
okay.
from and VHS from back in the day, so Return of Jafar and King of Thieves, which are also
I
really
remember
cool.
those.
They're great. I was telling them how great like the TV show too. They were like really cool. Like really like there was a time period where straight to DVD things actually were huge, like for Disney especially. Like Disney cranked out a lot of those sequels that went right to
all the sequels, wasn't it? Really, it was sort of
They were basically like, we're not doing. He was telling me in the interview, he's like, we'll definitely like the guy that I think was the president at the time was like, we're not really interested in doing all these. And then someone's like whispers in his ear about how much money they make, and he's like, all right, so we're gonna really focus on these, like he's like, they're like they made this so many millions last year. He's like, oh, okay, we're definitely gonna do more of those then.
I've been listening to Don Franks sing jazz all day today. So
great, that's great.
It's, and there's a couple tunes that his voice is just right where it sounds like Sabretooth singing jazz.
No.
And like every X-Men fan should just go listen to Don Franks sing the jazz. You'll hear it. You'll hear it.
The sad thing is, and I'll pull this up now in case I'm just trying to have it. This one here, this album here, it was never released. He sent me it. It was his unreleased kind of masterpiece, and it's such a wonderful jazz album. It's just a jazz song. I'll send it to you. I don't think I can send it to anyone else, but I'll send it to you. He does a great cover of a jazz cover of George Harrison's Taxman.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just, and he was a lovely guy, really, really lovely guy. Like,
very cool.
Just one of the really lovely person, so friendly, and had so many stories, so interested in everything, And he sent me all these things. Where's the other one? Let me send. There's that. This one. It's he claimed. I don't know if it's just a crate. That one. He claimed it was the only CD copy of it. I don't know if he was exaggerating or what, but it might.
That's a hell of a scoop if it is.
Yeah, it's. But yeah, you just send stuff. Send these CDs. I've got a load of them. The poetry and things like that. And I never really spoke to him a lot about voice acting, but
really,
I never. It's funny because a couple of times I thought about it, but I always thought it was like the thing he might be tired of speaking about. It's like the jazz was such a passion. I think sometimes, as I mentioned, the Silver Surfer, and he sent me those scripts, but yeah, he's a really lovely guy, very, very, very friendly, warm. The kind of person you'd interview, but he would ask you as many questions about you as you want to know about him.
That's awesome.
Lovely man. Yeah.
Canadian legend.
Was I unaware of his involvement with the Silver Surfer cartoon?
Who's
He's
he
only
in that
one of them.
Yeah.
He's only in the first one.
And who does he play in it?
He's I don't know the character's name, but he's like an alien. That really doesn't narrow it down with that show.
Oh, that's fine. No, that's really cool. Because I love that cartoon. Oh, he's Caleb.
Yeah, I
see right here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it was such a Kirby-esque cartoon. Like
it was, wasn't it?
It like really got the Kirby feel. Like
it did.
It's rare that like they can emulate styles so well. It seems like the DC animated movies are doing a good job with it now. Like, because they're all sort of inspired by whatever series. But that one, I don't know, man. It was really cool. And like Thanos was in it. Like it kind of got everything. I was a big Thanos fan. Still am.
I loved as well. Again, it goes back to the voices, and I think that series encapsulated it. And I think you can tell they were sort of Shakespearean actors because it had that kind of gravitas to it. All the dialogue had that sense of poetry.
Well, even the Silver Surfer story even lends itself to that.
Yeah,
like where it's like
big time.
Sacrificing your whole world and offering up others to save your own. Like it's very Faustian bargain kind of thing.
Right? It really is. It totally is. And I think it's an element that I missed with, especially Thanos I've not seen all the Marvel films, so I might be speaking out of turn, but I kind of missed with him in that because I always got the impression he was like sort of like some kind of cosmic mad Roman emperor in that series, like someone with ultimate power who is insane. And I think that voice in that cartoon really encapsulated that. There was that kind of almost Caligula sound to him, the way he spoke.
I never thought of it that way. I mean, his core motivation was always because he was in love with death, right? So and I always found that such a unique motivation for a villain because
I think
you've never seen anything else like it.
Really. Never. And I think that was just he seemed kind of bland in the movies compared to that because it was
much more conventional.
Yeah, it was logic, and you think this guy's not supposed to be about logic. It's love,
his
really.
logic. You could poke a hole in it so quickly.
Yeah,
it's like I need to cut the people in half because there's not enough resources. But it's like that same power, you can just double the resources. Like
exactly.
Or make a new universe. I don't know. Do something. It seems like he's all powerful.
Yeah. So that was a great series, and
a much more interesting take on that is the Alexander Payne movie Downsizing, where like they figure out a way to shrink people so we use less resources.
Oh, okay.
It's a very interesting movie.
I'll have to watch that.
Matt Damon's in it. It's fun. It's an interesting take on the sort of dread we all have about the environment collapsing around us and the lengths we'll go to try to fix it. But
that's interesting. What was that other one like that? The one with the meteorite. Not like that, but it's kind of.
There's a few. It was like Seeking a Friend at the End of the World, and the new one. Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up.
Yeah, Don't Look Up. I really like Don't Look Up.
That was very good too. Yeah, awesome.
Well, so one thing I noticed right off with this cast list, I gotta say. So this is you say is maybe tailored to the British releases more.
Yes, yeah.
Because on this list here, as we were already discussing earlier, you have Iona Morris listed as Storm right up until season 2, episode 2, where I'm certain in the releases we got, it was the ones Allison had redone.
Yeah,
because she did tell me that she did go back and redo all those episodes.
So did they get released then in Britain without?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Actually, and I think that's the version that's currently on Disney Plus everywhere. I don't think it's because I used to have some tapes I bought on eBay in the late 90s. And they featured Alison Seeley Smith clearly in every episode. And you could hear the difference in the voice. It was totally different. And the ones that are on Disney Plus, actually, if you listen, the second episode on Disney Plus features Alison Seeley Smith. But the rest of them, I think, still feature Iona Morris.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that now because now
yeah,
I'm super curious.
there's and I think there's the British releases. Maybe it's a little bit clearer. I might have to try and get some footage or something, send it to you, because there's a clear difference. They're actually got quite similar voices in a sense, but but there is a difference you can hear when you start comparing them. You know, and as I say, I think Iona Morris recorded right up until the end of season 2, but it's just probably those don't really get used at all. Those dubs.
That's wild that Seeley Smith had that Allison had so much, because in the new series, I mean, I know Disney is fairly candid about all their information, but we posted something a while ago that it was very clear they did a wrap-up episode at the end of this season. It's very clear that they had somebody else's voice as Storm in that.
Okay, that's interesting.
They have a clip of her talking, and I actually did a side-by-side and tracked down the original audio, because I was like, that's definitely not Allison Seeley Smith.
Yeah.
And when you play them side by side, it's very obvious a different person.
Yeah.
It's on her
very obvious why you should always have Allison Seeley Smith voice Storm, because it's hard to match.
Definitely, yeah.
It really doesn't sound like it. I don't want to shit on the actress. I'm sure she did whatever, but I mean, it's really hard to replace such an iconic voice.
It is, isn't it? You know. Yeah, her voice is just, it's great and powerful. It's instantly recognizable. You just know who it is, and wonderful voice. She was in.
Did you watch 97?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did watch it. She still sounds the same.
Yeah, I told her that too. I'm like, of all the actors, you sound the most the same. You don't sound like you've aged the 30 years. Like some of them, you can tell.
Yeah, but I thought even Lenore Zan still sounded very good.
Absolutely.
And Cal Dodd, it's a slightly different voice, but I think it still works for the character.
Yeah,
it's still a good voice.
Yep. And same with Beast. There's a slight difference, but
fine for that. But again, it's you still get the kind of intellectual. It still gives you the same vibe. Some of them probably, if you actually analyze the voice, work slightly better, maybe, but it's because you're so used to what they used to sound like in these. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Could be.
But
man, I've also just discovered while looking through this that Don Franks was the voice of Boba Fett in the holiday special.
Yeah.
So he was the first Boba Fett.
Yeah, he was the first Boba Fett, and I think George Boozer was the second one.
Oh, really? That's hilarious.
Yeah. I don't think that's anywhere, because I've come across searching for this. I found so many other cast lists for shows that aren't anywhere, and that was the Star Wars Droids. I don't know if you're interested in Star Wars Droids, but I can send you the cast list for Star Wars Droids.
I remember that show well.
Yeah, which again is another one that I don't think is out there.
He's listed. It's listed as Don Franks on the Wikipedia for the show, but
no, okay.
But that's not necessarily,
he's
accurate,
in the
as we've come to learn. He does have a couple other characters. It says,
Tosh. I can't remember. I'll send you the list. You can have a look at it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's I quite like this stuff because it's like detective work, really. It's just finding out who these people are, who they provided the voice for. Larry Houston was a big help.
The great Larry H.
Yeah, really nice guy. He like 2 pages worth of names he gave me.
Really, that's awesome.
Yeah. So and Susan Hart as well sorted the last 10 or so out, completely. And that was good because they're just lists of the official kind of studio lists, so there's that made that a lot easier.
So it should be mentioned, I know we've mentioned it before, but the reason they got rid of Iona Morris ended up being the right call anyway, I think, because Allison does such a great job, but they didn't want to pay her royalties. They didn't want to pay her residuals. So
okay.
Why were her residuals higher than the average person's?
No, the Canadian actors didn't get any.
Right. Yeah. That's correct.
Oh, was she American?
Yeah, she was American. So.
Oh, okay. Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Can't pay those American dollars.
No.
No, sir. Not
No,
Haim
no.
Saban.
No.
Sitting
Well,
on
you've got to
the-
make sure. You've got to make sure Saban keeps his millions. Because he's. It's hard to get by on his fortune, isn't it? He needs to save money where he can.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's tough out there, right? So.
Yeah.
I like how this one too here in Repo Man episode 2 or season. What was this? Season 2, episode 5? Is it? Yeah. Don Franks plays Puck and Shaman. They're just like, Don, do you want to play Alpha Flight like most of them? Let him play Sasquatch too. He would have been great.
He had this whole tie to the First Nation.
For sure.
He
went by Iron Buffalo.
Iron Buffalo, that's right. Yeah, I think that was his email address as well. I think it was like Iron Buffalo, something or other.
Really? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so what was the most surprising thing you'd see after going through all of this? Like, what was the most? Would it be the apocalypse stuff, or is there something that was like really stood out as some of the more?
The one that really bugged me was Quicksilver. That was the one that really bugged me because it was a guy called Jeff Clark, but it's down as an actor who did other voices in the show called Paul Haddad.
And I saw his name up here. He just.
I even wrote to several of the cast members to say, do you know whose signature this is? Because it definitely wasn't Paul Haddad's. And they said, oh, no, Paul Haddad did. So, the cast were saying that, some of them, because I think they were probably looking up on IMDb. But the autograph on all of the Quicksilver scripts from across several years were all this other autograph. And when you listen to it, you can hear it's a different voice. There's something kind of slightly deeper about it, naturally deeper. And anyway, and then when Susan Hart sent me the list, it had Jeff Clark, because the autograph was indecipherable. You couldn't read it. It was like John. I was thinking John something, John Allen. Was the best I'd got. And then when she sent me that with a name on it, it was like a real some kind of detective moment. Like I knew it. I wasn't crazy. I remember telling a friend about that, and this friend's got no interest in this stuff at all. So you can imagine it was just like, are you insane? What are you talking about?
It's like sweet vindication.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's funny because like back in the day, like especially you, cobbling this stuff together, way back, or getting a start on it anyway, before you could go on the internet and have access to these people. Like it's literally just tracking down cast lists from VHS box sets and everything, and looking at the credits and the episodes.
Yeah,
like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's nuts.
There are some interesting. Oh yeah, see there you have Blendick there as Apocalypse in season 3.
Yeah, and you can hear it because he was Galactus in Silver Surfer.
Right.
If you listen to him as Galactus, and then you think about Apocalypse in any of those other episodes, you can hear it. As soon as you hear the Galactus voice, you go, "Oh, of course it's him."
Yeah. That is interesting.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
I love some of these Canadian actors that just show up for some of these smaller parts too, like Nigel
it's so
Bennett,
weird,
Jason
isn't it?
Weingard.
Yeah,
Colin Fox is like Zebediah Kilgrave.
But some of the best ones are the ones where they get like a different actor in to play one part, but it's not even a named character. It's like a technician or a soldier, and you think, couldn't someone else have just doubled up? But they, it's really they seem to spend a lot of money on. Well, I don't know how much money Saban spent, but they seem to really splash out on the cast. They wanted to make it as I think Karen Gura, she said to me that she always thought of it as not voice acting, it was just acting, so I think that's probably why there's so many different voices there.
Oh my god, it's like they wanted Don Franks to play Alpha Flight, and they wanted friend of the show Ron Rubin to play all of the Shi'ar Guard. He's Warstar, he's Arkil, down here he's Chode, he's Raza, they're Starjammers, but still.
I think he was the original Mr. Sinister as well. I've not been able to confirm that.
What?
Ruben was?
Yeah, if you,
I feel like he would have told us that.
We could ask him. He's been on the
We can
show.
ask him.
He may not be. It may be someone else. It might even be a member of, I don't know, the voice technician people. But I think it's in the Wii transfer I sent you. There's the 2 clips, and again, the Chris Britton.
He says something in the end of season 1. I think Sinister.
That's the bit. But the Chris Britton did dub it, but again, that dub has disappeared. You never hear that on. It's been sort of lost. But the audio you can,
and they're all
gone.
Well,
I think Norm Spencer spoke about Don Franks was the voice of Corsair, but he's not on any of the scripts.
So
and he's not in any of the episodes. If you'd notice.
So I think maybe he was a placeholder, but maybe he's I don't know, it'd be a bit of an expensive placeholder. I thought they'd just I don't know.
Yeah, there was another one here. Where is it? There's other couple names here I found interesting that showed up. Oh yeah, there's Tony Daniels played Toad in Watchdog.
Yeah.
What else we got here? What's some interesting? Who was it? We're getting there though. We're getting there. Who else? Oh, I'm clicking the wrong way. That's not going to help. But yeah, so look here. Now in Produce Part 1, it has Lally Cadeau back as Moira McTaggart. So that they just like whoever they could get, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like it, yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. Oh, and there again too. Huh. See, there's some interesting stuff here. I gotta say, Roscoe Lee Brown is we're into the Spider-Man.
We're in the Spider-Man Mutant Agenda crossover. I was gonna say I just saw Mark Hamill as Hobgoblin. I was like, wait.
Yeah, I was like, what? What was that episode?
I got the official things for that as well sent to me, so I thought I'd include them for good measure, you know.
Oh, there's Back to the X-Men there now. Okay, so where were we here? There was a name. That really surprised me. I don't remember us talking about.
Randall Carpenter's Mystique.
No, that's not the one. That is interesting, though. Maybe it's one of her like other voices that she does too. Well, again, Randall Carpenter is Mystique. I don't know who Randall Carpenter is though. So there's that.
Yeah, you're right. Like the episodes where they have like a ton of mutants, like the one where Cyclops goes to the town where there's a bunch of them all, hanging out. With Husk and all those guys in it, or that's like that. There's so many voices. You're right about how like unique it is in that you think they just set some folks double up, but
Shirley Douglas is Sharon Xavier.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, she's in a few episodes, I think.
Yeah.
I remember Django Maximoff.
Django Maximoff.
That was the dad. That was the dad who's at the beginning. And that guy, I think that was Frank Perry. He did loads of voices. So I can't see that because it's on my phone. I can't see the screen. But who was the guy?
Here we go.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say here's the one I was looking for. But go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say that Victor Young is the second Magneto, who only does 2 episodes or 4 episodes, something like that, which is weird.
It's very strange.
Covenant. David Hewlett as Warlock. I didn't know David Hewlett played Warlock. I love David Hewlett. He was in Stargate Atlantis, and
I'll send you his autograph. It's it's a really, really kind of weird one. There's a little smiley face on it or something.
He's also a British-born actor. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Hewlett?
According to his Wikipedia.
Oh, okay.
He was a British-born Canadian actor, writer, and director.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
He's also in the movie, which comes up fairly often because a lot of the Canadian actors that show up in these animated series we're all on like a lot of shows, that Canadian shows, live action shows, and movies too, like for lower budget movies. So there's a really great horror movie called Cube,
I love
the
that.
David. Yeah, me too. The David Hewlett's in as well.
Oh, of course, I think he's in the second Scanners as well.
Oh God, we don't talk about the sequels that often.
Yeah, I lose all credibility for any kind of taste in films because I love Halloween 6.
Oh, that's the one most people really don't like.
Yeah, really don't like.
That's hilarious.
Halloween 6. I definitely didn't see that one.
I actually I collect physical media, so I have a lot of Blu-rays.
I do, yeah.
I have actually Arrow is one of my favorite things to collect as well as which is a British.
Yeah, they're great. Arrow.
They're really good. Their podcast is great too. Have you ever listened?
I've not heard that.
Yeah, it's two British guys. One guy's a special effects artist, Dan Martin. He works in a lot of horror movies. He worked on like Infinity Pool and a lot of stuff over here actually. And the other guy is a writer and director too, Sam Ashurst or something. I think
right. Okay.
He's a lot of journalist stuff. I think he lives in the States now. But
yeah, they're great. Arrow. I love the flip covers. You can have the original. Poster or whatever it is. Yeah.
Daniel says, didn't the Warlock voice actor retire early in his career as a teen? Well, not if it was David Hewlett.
No, I think there's a weird name on IMDb that maybe there's an actor. I can't remember the name of him, but there's a name on IMDb that's what is it? I don't think he's real. I think he may have been someone who just added himself to IMDb because none of the stuff looks very genuine. Yeah, he credits himself in a couple of I can't think of the name of it, but I think he may be some sort of I don't know, that's some sort of phony.
Interesting.
It's so wild because and even the people that worked on the show, even just talking to them on our show, they've been doing it for acting and for so long that they always have great stories, but like every minute detail about who was in the booth with Wenham, whatever, like that, it's really hard for them to figure to even remember some of that stuff, So it's really cool you have this stuff here.
Yeah, well, I thought I just really don't like the idea of people not being credited. Again, it's
I agree.
Crazy,
IMDb has Paula Dodd as Quicksilver.
No, it wasn't him.
And it
there
doesn't
used to
have
be a different
anyone as Warlock. It has people with different failings.
Well, it wasn't a weird name, but it was it was a fairly normal name, I think. But some maniac. Well, I don't know if it was a maniac. Again, speaking pretty accurately about this guy.
This guy's pretended to be Warlock for the last time on my watch.
Yeah.
No worries, Daniel. That's why we're here.
That's right. That's what we do.
Well, why don't we move on to one of our famous segments? We
should make this if you're cool with this, Paul. Just post it on our list, or maybe just make it so that people can download the list. If that's cool.
If you want to put it out,
I might edit a couple of bits out of it because there's a couple of I know there's a couple of things I was told to take off of it, so I might do that.
Oh, sure, yeah, no
once I do
worries.
that, you can
Oh, well, I hope we didn't put something up there that we weren't.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. It's no big deal. I mean, the thing is, they did sign the scripts at the end of the day. The names are out there. But I'll send you an updated. I'll tidy it up. I'll correct that spelling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Alison Seeley Smith is spelled wrong.
Lost it, pal.
So we'll know that if Paul winds up dead under mysterious circumstances, we'll know that whoever wanted their names off the list could be.
They did it.
Yeah.
I always like to have an edge.
All right, let's move on here to.
You don't like the movie? Change the channel.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, now I guess so. This is where I recommend a movie, Devin. I'm a movie guy, and I guess it's got to be a horror movie now.
Yeah.
But it's actually interesting. I just watched one, and I don't know if I call it a horror movie, but it's a very interesting movie, and it's kind of, I won't call it controversial, but it's definitely, you either really like it or you don't. And it came out this past year. It's called I Saw the TV Glow.
I heard of that.
It's about two friends that are sort of outcasts in their town that become friends, a girl and a boy, and they share a love for this TV show called The Pink Opaque, which is kind of a riff off Buffy, where it's like two teenage girls that met at a sleepaway camp, have a psychic connection, and they battle this bad guy called Mr. Melancholy. And anyway, it's this kind of dumb show that they're really into, and then as they grow, it's sort of, oh, hey.
Jody just crashed the party. What's up, Jody? Oh,
I'm
we're
not
getting
alone.
crashed everywhere.
I'm bringing
Cousin
people.
Dave's crashing the party.
What's happening?
Well, we just wanted to do some congratulations for a certain person on the panel.
Oh, I see what's happening.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Gavin getting married tomorrow night.
What?
Tomorrow?
Have you not even? Is it not tomorrow?
No.
Heather thinks it's tomorrow.
What?
Are you getting married?
Not tomorrow.
When is it?
Like September?
What?
Like you don't know the date?
I don't know off the top of my head.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Maybe the
for whenever
18th?
you are
Are
getting
you
married.
sure it's not tomorrow?
I should hope he does.
Because
Is anybody surprised by him not knowing that it's tomorrow?
Not really.
I don't think it's tomorrow. Tomorrow's like a Wednesday. Like,
is it?
I
Well,
don't know.
that's okay. So Davin and I are second cousins, and so my aunt Heather and second our first cousin to him is attending, and she's like, it's Wednesday night. She told me, so I said,
Oh,
jeez.
jeez. I guess I got to message Heather. Don't want her driving down the valley for nothing. But,
Are you doing something big, or are you just?
no, it's just a small little thing. It's as close to eloping as it can be, I would say.
Well, I expect an invitation, sir.
This is why he's not telling anybody. He's
That's
like,
right.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe we just blew this whole thing.
That's right. Now you did for me. Now I'm gonna have to show up, and I'm gonna be hammered.
And by the way, hi Paul.
Hello.
You're too busy for a
Nice.
pitiful event like that.
Not at all. I would happily come to your wedding. That sounds
Hey,
amazing.
anyway, sorry to crash this amazing podcast, but we just wanted to say.
Yeah.
congrats.
Well,
You crashed Andre's movie recommendation segment.
Oh, I'm
Sorry.
sorry, Andre.
I'm sorry, Andre, but
If I knew I was going to interrupt Andre, I wouldn't have done it.
I thought there was a wedding tomorrow, and I felt like
Yeah,
it
like,
had to happen.
Paul or Andre.
I don't think there is.
It'd be great if there actually.
I love that he's not sure. Even he's
The
still
fact that
like,
he's not confident on what he's saying right now leads me to believe that maybe there's something he doesn't
it could
know.
like I
That's
love
not
that
like
it
Heather
could
to
be-
get something so wrong. So I'm a little confused.
Well, I think that's what she told me, but maybe I misheard her. I don't know.
Ugh.
It's probably
You mishearing Heather, I believe.
Okay, well, you think it's not for a month?
Ish.
Okay.
I think it's written down on the wall upstairs. I can go look.
We might have just caused this to be canceled. I'm just letting you know now. We might have caused some troubles.
That's right.
Well,
Tiffany
yeah.
sit around the corner, just going, "What the hell?"
Anyway, we gotta let you guys get back to your thing. Sorry to interrupt.
Maybe it should be tomorrow, Davin, because my anniversary with Jane was 2 days ago, and today is Jeff's anniversary.
Dave.
Today's Jeff's anniversary?
His marriage is not about you, Dave.
But then we can all celebrate together. I don't know. Anyway, bye.
Oh, you might have to call in whenever it is and give me a bit of the Klingon ritual. The Klingon ceremony.
Never mind. He's not getting married tomorrow.
You message Heather for me. This is your mess. You clean it up.
Yeah, you screwed this up, Dave.
No, that was Adam. Adam was going to come crash this as well.
Hold on,
But
Tiffany. When's the wedding? September 18th. I was right.
September 18th.
Heather thinks it's tomorrow, I think. That's what Cousin Dave's saying.
Damn it, Heather.
He's working on
Our
that.
intel was terrible. All right. Anyway, sorry to crash, guys.
No.
Have a good night.
Okay,
All right.
September 18th.
September 18th is a Wednesday, though. So
It is a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, I am just embarrassed.
I just got the wrong Wednesday. Okay. Well, guys, I'll let you get back to your movie reviews.
Dave,
Thanks for stopping by.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
See you, Dave. Yeah, you see we're a close knit group around here, Paul.
No, that's nice. I think it's great you've got this this show. It's as I say, because it's something so many of us of our sort of age.
It's a whole network of podcasts.
Yeah.
They just jumped over from the Star Trek review over there, so they must have finished early.
I thought that was a Star Trek, but I didn't want to embarrass myself and say is that Star Trek in case it wasn't.
Oh, it is. We're big Trekkies over here too. So here's my Star Trek background. Right. So, COVID hit. I started 45 podcasts.
He really did. And I met him once at a Comic-Con like 8 years ago, and he looped me into this somehow. I don't know how it happened.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Right. See, I'd expect you to.
Oh my God!
Live in the same house as me.
Hey,
Adam.
Why
are you here?
Why was I? I'm here because I was supposed to give you like congratulations, but now they're not.
Do you think it's tomorrow too?
Isn't it?
No.
Oh.
In September, middle of September.
Oh, okay. We'll come back in a couple weeks then.
Yeah.
All right. Hey guys, Adam here.
Yeah.
Adam.
It's
this is a pretty funny little parade of really early congratulations.
Okay, so Dave had this all wrong. Gotcha. You guys have a great show.
But the fact he cared enough to organize this.
Yeah, I know. It's very sweet. I'm very
it's nice.
I love all
Tiffany
these
and sort of
even Jody.
Yeah. Even Jody came. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, guys. Later.
Bye, Adam. Daniel says, so wait, Devin is getting married and no bachelor party with Dazzler shining her sparks coming out of a cake. Daniel, I want you shining sparks coming out of my cake.
All right.
Make it
happen. Out to the East Coast. Make it happen. He's in New York City, I think, so he's got a bit of a trek. Yeah, so anyway, I saw the TV Glow. It's a very strange movie. It's mostly an allegory for not living a fully realized life. I feel like if you watch it, you'll understand. I don't want to give too much away, but it's mostly I think I interpret it just based knowing a little bit about the director as being about being a trans person and maybe not and not accepting that part of yourself and hiding it away and what that does to people. But it does take a horror lens on it. And it's very interesting. But it also has some very interesting stuff about nostalgia and how that plays as you age. Like there's this reverence for the series that when they rewatch it later on in life, it's kind of hokey and dumb. And it's sort of about like how much we build these things up in our head too, about these nostalgia things that we define our lives by. And then
it's like going back and watching He-Man or the 80s Turtles. They're just hokey and dumb.
I mean, even there were many episodes of this show that like we aren't great, you know.
No,
like
definitely.
So, but the ones that really are great, they really shine through, right? So
yeah, Cyclops in the desert, not a good episode.
Yeah, check out I Saw the TV Glow, and also a little extra sort of recommendation would be the new Alien movie, Alien Romulus.
Yes, I saw that.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. I've been wanting to. Though.
I like that.
I mean, I don't really understand why we needed it. You know, like after watching them, like I don't know, it doesn't really add much. It's just really well done though, and really good. And if you
That's
just
the way I felt after Force Awakens, I'm like, haven't we seen that before? Like,
don't get me started on Star Wars fans. They'll never be happy.
The Alien films. I mean, I quite like Alien 3.
Oh yeah, me too. Actually,
I really like that, and I think
it's different.
Perfect.
It's unique.
Totally.
Alien Resurrection's not as bad as everyone says it is.
I'm sure it probably was.
Yeah, I can't get my head around Alien Resurrection. I can't gel with that for some reason. I don't know why.
It's not great, but it's
Ron
not
Perlman?
as bad as everyone.
Is it Ron Perlman? Did he do it?
Well, usually I like all the people in it except in that.
Yeah,
you know, they're like they for some reason they're all really annoying in that film. But,
my memory of it is very lax. Like I remember the aliens killing one of the a group of them killing another one so they could use the acid to get through the floor. And I remember a pronounced scene of them swimming. And I remember that was because you never saw them swim before.
That was the one good bit, wasn't it? The swimming bit.
It was kind of creepy because they looked like water snakes the way they were going. It was kind of neat.
The best part of that movie is when the alien gets sucked out of that tiny hole in the bulkhead.
All right, that's the weird human alien.
Yeah, human hybrid thing.
Her baby thing. Yeah.
So she cries while it's being sucked out of a tiny hole in the bulkhead. It's kind of a messed up scene in a messed up movie.
No.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that actually works in space, but anyway.
No.
Yeah, you don't get sucked through a hole like that.
No, you would just plug that hole. Who knows what alien hybrid babies are made of? Maybe they're very gelatinous.
That's true. They could be. They could be. There is something in this movie that is kind of gelatinous looking, so we'll see what happens.
Do you have a movie recommendation for us? I have another segment for you and me, but
is it a blue segment?
Yes, it's a blue segment.
Kind of a blue segment.
It's a blues segment.
Let's think about films. I'll look up on my shelf. So my neck doesn't seem to work tonight. I don't know why.
Are you familiar with, as a blues person, are you familiar with Dutch Mason?
I know of Dutch Mason. I must admit, I've not got. I've probably got compilations or something like that.
He's one of like Nova Scotia's claims to fame for
right. Yeah.
Anyway, so
he's probably on some of the. Cause I've got a few Canadian blues samplers up there, so he's probably on one of those, I imagine.
His son Garrett Mason's kind of carrying on the tradition, but
yes, yeah. Now that name's familiar. That name's very familiar. So again,
I'm not super big on Dutch or Garrett myself. I
really?
like them.
No,
they're not high on my list.
That's sacrilege. You get pimp slapped for around these parts for saying.
We'll get into maybe who's higher on my list here in this next segment.
All
you got
right,
a movie recommendation for us there, though, Paul?
I did, but it's called. No, I tell you what, it's an old one, but it's called The Ninth Configuration.
Oh yes, yes,
yeah, wonderful film. I would recommend it to anyone.
By William Peter Blatty.
Yes, that's right.
Exorcist, the guy who wrote the Exorcist novels.
Yeah, and Legion, Exorcist 3, which is one of my
favorites. He directed the third. He only directed 2 movies, and they're both really good.
Really
the Ninth Configuration and Exorcist 3, which are both fantastic films.
Yeah, that's lovely. We'll have to talk films one day on the.
I could do. I'll have you on my other show. We'll talk about them all day.
That'd be
great.
I'll
have you on my other show too. I have a movie podcast.
Oh yeah, that'd be good to have him on for that. Actually, this last Halloween, me and my wife watched a movie that has loomed large in my mind for quite a while. And I recently rethought of it because I watched Late Night with the Devil that reminded me of it. And it was Ghostwatch, the original British release. Yeah,
fantastic.
It was very good. I was amazed how good it was. Davin, it was like a fake. So the BBC put out a fake, like them going to a haunted house on Halloween event and used real newscasters.
Oh, I've heard of this. I haven't seen this, but I've heard of this.
And it was kind of posited as a real live event. And it freaked. I guess BBC was inundated with millions, but like thousands of calls,
like the Orson Welles thing all over
people
again.
thought
see
it
if
was
we
real.
can recreate that hysteria.
And they kind of did. It was really interesting and really good.
It's great. Does it still hold up? I saw it when
it does. It does.
Old.
I think Second Sight or one of those companies put out a big fancy box set of it that I picked up.
Okay.
Although I think it is on Shudder over here. I'm not sure what the British version of Shudder has.
That's actually the name of the podcast. That's what we examine over there. If things hold up.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's great. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Ninth Configuration is a really cool old horror movie.
I love that. It's
check that out.
Off the wall,
I do a movie night. I hosted a bar here, and we had one last night. We watched The Burbs, which
I love that.
It's such a fun movie.
I love The Burbs too.
Me and one other guy are the only two there that had seen it before, so I was like, I decided to watch everybody laugh, and it was
so good, man. It's so
the guy that played the friend is an underrated actor. He was super good.
Isn't he? Yeah.
He used to be in a lot of stuff too.
Died in 2016, but he was super cool in that movie.
What else was he in?
Well, he was in. I looked it up. I think he was in. That'll come to me in a minute. But
me too.
He's in a bunch of stuff from like the 90s, 2000s, early 2000s.
Yeah, he's good. All right, what you got it?
Oh, he was Canadian, so he's a stand-up comedian. He was in Die Hard, Groundhog Day, Last Action Hero, Gremlins 2. Scary movie.
Gremlins 2, I think that's might have been what I was thinking of, or maybe Last Action Hero.
Well, Joe Dante directed both, so I'm assuming he, obviously was connected.
Perhaps you'd better take over from here.
All right, so this we call Sweet Tunes for the Ex-Goons. Oh, you know what?
Oh, that's a great. Do we always call it that? That's a great name.
That's what I always called it. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
You don't pay attention to my titles.
I guess not.
You know what? I'm switching up the segment. We're doing Top X. It's actually a combination of those two segments. So, as a fellow blues man, I think you and I, perhaps what we'll do is create a top 10 here.
Okay.
Of the 5 fine each. We'll do 5 each of the 5 finest blues performances we have seen.
Right. Okay. Do you mean
blues is best seen live?
Seen live. Okay.
Yes, very specific.
Or play it on, a really old record player on an LP. That works too. But you really want to see blues live.
Okay.
All right. We can go back and forth. You don't got to go all five. So give yourself time.
Maybe I'll think of it. Maybe I'll mix a few up with some old classics as well.
I'll just start with an easy one. I saw B.B. King. It was amazing. It was on his 80th birthday or 82nd birthday.
Right.
Yeah. That was a cool show.
That's great. Was that 2011?
I think it was earlier than that. Well, there's the poster. Okay. There's the poster right there. Hold on.
Because I think I saw that same tour in London.
Oh, really? Wow.
The Blues Worldwide Tour.
That sounds right.
I can show you the poster. I'll go grab it here. 1 second. But yeah, you're picking yours. I'll go grab that poster.
All right. So what would yours be?
What would mine be? I saw... I tell you who was very good. I saw Keb Mo at the Union Chapel here in London. Wow. And that was really he's great. He didn't play a lot.
This one?
I think it is in person. Yeah, I think I've got that poster rolled up. It's in.
It says 2002 at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's
2002.
That's not the one. It maybe used a similar person.
Yeah,
similar poster.
It was
definitely a similar person. Yeah.
Is like in English culture, is blues like something that is appreciated?
It is huge here because the blues,
Blues Breakers.
Yeah, it had a big. Do you know Long John Baldry? Have you heard of Long John Baldry?
Yeah.
Well, I actually run kind of semi-official with a friend of his, the Long John Baldry appreciation page on Facebook and
nice
YouTube, and we have access to kind of his archives and stuff like that. We and he really brought the blues along with a guy called Cyril Davis, a harmonica player, and Alexis Corner, a guitar player. Really brought the blues to Britain, and without them, I mean, because the Rolling Stones.
is Bishop about to show up?
Yeah, exactly. I got. Oh yeah, I could do the Bishop one.
Every time Bishop shows up in the X-Men cartoon,
yeah. Did you pick one while I was gone?
You did.
Yes,
go ahead.
Mo.
Oh wow, I've never seen Keb Mo. That's a fun one.
It was the Hot Pink Blues tour. He did an album of it. It's a really nice album. He didn't play enough standard blues though. He got the steel guitar out for like one song, but it was a weird night because there were like about 3 fights in the audience, and it was in a church.
Really?
As well,
just all riled up from the
These sort of
those classic British blues fights. I'm telling you, notorious.
British blues fans are the worst people as well in the world. They're
really?
sort of especially upper class ones, because they've got this kind of anger with them. They're very they seem to have fights at every gig. You go to kind of a more a sort of free gig and everyone's friendly, but you go to one of those things and it's like everyone's angry because someone's sat in their chair or someone's moved and got in their way. And so about 3 fights of this thing. Yeah,
that is wild.
Passive aggressive fights,
All blues people are, there's some sort of sadness there. There's a nugget of something,
without
there's a hole
doubt
that can never be filled.
Yeah,
that needs the salve of the blues.
It's funny because I do have a great appreciation for jazz and blues music, but I have never done a deep dive to the level that Davin and others have. But I do really like sad indie music, kind of alternative stuff. So, and I feel like blues isn't super far away from it.
I know you like this.
Oh, there it is. That's a fabulous
album.
One of
the best. One of the
fabulous album. Sun House. Just the best, really. I think he was described as kind of the if the blues could be condensed down to a river that everything came from. Dick Waterman described it as Sun House. Like where really so pure.
Yeah,
fabulous.
Some of the old blues voices are some of the most haunting and beautiful voices you'll ever.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? They're kind of like ghosts in a way, because they're so old and just names on records,
Oh, Davin, you're in mute.
Oh, I thought it was me.
No. You'll say, look, you're saying something very important there.
Yeah.
He's like, and this is the most important fact. Oh, we lost him. He's probably just re-putting his way in.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
No, that's super cool. It's I didn't know there's like a big blues for Surge. I know like punk and a lot of other things sort of that are really sort of celebrated.
Yeah, blues in Britain was a big thing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
You're still muted, buddy. Did you hit a button on your mic or something, or on the side? No.
This is usually what happens to me in these things.
Really? Do you do a lot of these sort of podcasts?
No, more Skype. Anything Skypey. Usually there's a problem, or I freeze. You think, oh my god, it's so embarrassing. You can just see the screen. It's always the most unflattering pose as well.
I'm back in black.
All
right. So, yes, I was going to say, I was telling a story. I said one time I put a Robert Johnson record on, and then I turned around and started to walk to the bathroom, but there was a slight, because sometimes the record spins, and then eventually the first was on. And then it was long enough for, I was probably stoned or something, but it was like it was long enough for me to forget I put the record on. So then it started to play, and I swear I turned around because I thought it was a real person behind me. Robert Johnson, and he's here. And then I was like, well, I was still in the process of turning around. I realized how stupid that is. And so it was, but it just shows you the power of that voice.
Yeah, it's incredible. I don't know if I sent you this, but I wrote a play about the rediscovery of Son House and Robert Johnson and sort of the superstition a few years ago. And yeah, it was one of those things that I'm quite proud of. It didn't get a big long run or anything like that, but it was nice. It was just a nice thing when you write something you're very passionate about and it gets performed, and the great cast do it, and people seem to like it. That was a lovely thing to do.
Okay, well, I'll move on to my next pick, I guess. Here, number 4. Are you familiar with Matt Anderson?
No, I'm not.
Okay, check out Matt Anderson.
Sort of.
Okay.
He's a New Brunswick blues guy. And
he's from Brunswick. He's Nova Scotia.
No, he's from New Brunswick. Yeah. He's from Sackville, New Brunswick, I think. But you such a powerful voice and such a amazing acoustic player. All you need is him. Now, when he was first coming up, he used to play a weekly gig down at this bar down on the Halifax waterfront. I can't remember the name of it because it's not there anymore. It's something else now. It's some restaurant now. But it was a good spot for music. God, I can never remember the name of it. It's making me crazy. But so I would go down there regularly, and each one was, I could pick any one of those performances of his, but it's good. Go check out a song of his called "Tell Me," and if you can, and you'll see that really shows off his guitar prowess. And
that's great.
World class talent. Check him out, Matt Anderson.
Yeah, I'll look at. I'll check him out.
Yeah. What you got for me?
Taj Mahal.
Oh wow, your list is bumping.
Well, he lives in a major city. We don't get as many of them here. It's a little harder to get some of these stuff.
The Royal Festival Hall, which is part of the kind of BFI, the National Theatre. It's connected to that. They're really good sound.
Awesome.
Great, but really, really good performance. Just played all the classics, but sort of a million guitars with him and instruments and ukuleles and everything. Wonderful.
That's cool. Wow, that's a huge one.
Okay, that is a great one. My next one would have to be John Hammond. Because he's such a storyteller. Brilliant. It was just a small room.
Oh, lovely.
Nice little theater room. So it felt like he was just you and a couple friends sitting there listening to John Hammond wax away, and just
it's nice.
Intersperse his stories with songs that sort of had something to do with the story he was saying. And it was just a really amazing experience. And I wasn't as familiar as probably I should have been going into that show of John Hammond.
Mm.
I was impressed. I saw Bo Diddley that same day, but I was thinking I walked away more impressed by the John Hammond one.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. You got to see Bo Diddley. As great as
Yeah.
you know. I wish I got to see. Bo
Yeah, it was like a month before he died.
Wow.
So,
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. That's incredible. Who to go for next? I tell you, this is going to be a controversial one because he's not a blues singer per se, but he sung all blues when I saw him. Was Tom Jones?
Oh, really?
Really? You saw Tom Jones do a blues show?
Yeah,
Wow.
he did. His last few albums have all been blues based. They've all been
Okay.
all covers of John Lee Hooker and Odetta.
Mm-hmm.
I think Odetta. I think he does.
I feel like I heard him on a podcast recently where he was talking a bit about that. He was on Mark Maron's podcast maybe a year ago or something, and then maybe it was something to do with one of his newer albums.
Yeah, he did because he did all blues like St. James Infirmary, Burning Hell, all those great old blues songs. You know, it was sort of just a intimate show where he could play what he wanted. So Going Down Slow, the Howlin' Wolf song, and also Howlin' Wolf. I've got a painting of Howlin' Wolf.
I was wondering who that was below you. That's beautiful,
gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite records. Is I have as like a best of him, and I love that one.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
wonderful.
I collect vinyl too, so I have a lot of those. As
well.
well.
That's great. Howlin' Wolf's he's something else.
Oh yeah. Okay. Here's the next one for me. It's an interesting one. I don't know if you've heard of this guy. He's called Sam James, and he's out of. I think he might be out of Portland, Oregon, or no.
Okay.
No,
I don't think I've heard of him.
Portland, Maine. I think he might be an East Coast guy in the States. Anyway, he came up here to a blues festival, right? And it's just he plays an old lap steel, like he does Sun House tunes and stuff like that, right? He even did Death Letter, and it was amazing.
That's great.
This story, I think. No, it just didn't happen during Death Letter, but he played Death Letter, right? And then he breaks into this tune of his own, which is just an instrumental, but it boogies. It starts off slow, just like boom, 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 but then it starts bumping. He's just pumping, right? And all of a sudden, we're at the Alderney Landing. It's a ferry station, but the train also goes by. Mm-hmm. So in behind him is all windows, and as he's starting this slow song, this train just starts to creep behind him. So somebody sees what's happening and starts to film it. I wish I could find this video. And then as he starts to speed up, so does the train. It's just like the train just seemed to be keeping up with his tempo changes because he keeps speeding up that song. It keeps going faster and faster. And eventually he just like leans into the mic, goes, I did not plan this. But it was just the atmosphere of that, playing those old sort of like kind of train hopping era tunes with this train in the background, and it was amazing.
Well, trains are so kind of, you really associate them with the blues, don't you? Trains, it's just sound and everything. It's great.
Check out his album too. It's Sam James. I think it's called is it Songs of Sadness and Joy?
Okay,
something like that. I'll look it up. But
no, I'll have a listen. I'm trying to think of who I mean, if it's live, obviously my top 5 would be different if it was albums, but I would probably say Robert Plant. He played a lot of blues.
Oh,
yeah, he did a lot of blues. He did Howlin' Wolf 44. He did Booker White, Fixing to Die, all sorts of stuff. Really great concert.
And this Robert Plant is some kind of famous musician, is he? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay.
Some type of plant, some botanist fellow.
How did this fall in here? So that's hilarious.
You know, Whole Lot of Love.
A Whole Lot of Love. Yeah, it's an old blues tune.
It wasn't credited to Willie Dixon.
Well, Led Zeppelin didn't credit a lot of people back in the day.
It was terrible.
And Willie Dixon, I mean, Jesus, if there's anyone more crucial to like blues than him, I don't know.
One of the great songwriters of all time, really.
And he was playing bass for everybody else.
All those old Buddy Guy records, Muddy Waters, Etta James, he's on. Everyone.
Here it is. Samuel James Songs Famed for Sorrow and Joy. Check that one out. That's a fun album.
Yeah, I'll listen to that. That's great.
God, who's my last pick gonna be?
Decide.
I might just go might just mention a couple more local ones. I'm a big. Have you ever heard of the Carson Downey Band?
No, I've not.
It's electric blues. It's upbeat. They've got a bunch of great tunes. They're from North Preston here.
Mm-hmm.
They're really great. And another one I saw, I think it must have been I've seen them at a bunch of places. Barely's House of Blues, of course, a bunch of times. But Guy Davis, I was really impressed with him. I didn't know him.
Okay.
And then I saw him at Barely's House of Blues and Ribs here in Halifax. And he's awesome. Guy Davis. That's a recommendation to Guy Davis. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, he was playing the acoustic as well.
Right,
and,
lovely.
It was awesome. So that one really impressed me.
I think number one has to be as I was telling you earlier, my friend Hans Stamer. Who,
I was listening to some of him today.
Oh, were you? What did you listen
really
to?
Nice, like loungy jazz stuff.
His jazz album, yeah. He did some great blues though as well. He was great at everything, but jazz and blues, But his blues stuff is remarkable. And
he's in the Edmonton Blues Hall of Fame, I read.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he was. Sadly passed away in May. And it is a real. I still feel quite honoured to be able to call him my friend because I was a fan first. I got into his music and then got to know him and met him when I came to Canada, and then ended up staying with him and his partner Susie. She's wonderful.
Oh wow, that's so
really
cool.
And and he formed a kind of duo with Andreas Schold, who's a producer guitarist, and Andreas Schold is like. He's just another amazing guy. Someone I'm very proud to be friends with because he's one of those people who you just when you're around him you feel like you can do anything. So positive and so much energy. Both of them so knowledgeable about blues, so super talented. And Hans was like, not only did he have a great voice, but he was like a real philosopher. He had a kind of very kind, very very calm, super intelligent. And they did this album, which I'll hold up here if I can get in the way of the camera. Koodle Moodle, because they were both from Germany originally, Andreas and Hans, and that was their latest album. And it's great because they kind of mix all these new sounds in. There's like acid jazz on there, and there's kind of more modern stuff. But they do like R.L. Burnside numbers and.
Likes me some R.L. Burnside.
Right, yeah. This is really a really great album. I mean, not just for blues fans as well. It's a very different album. But Hans was remarkable, and he had sort of a minor hit with a song called "Dig a Hole" in the '70s, which he wrote. And yeah, as I was saying earlier, wonderful song. One of the great singers, if all be known. Marvelous voice, and he gave Michael Bublé his first singing chance to sing on a stage in front of an audience when he was young.
Really? Oh wow!
He saw Hans with his R&B band, I think, or one of his big bands, because he did so much stuff. He did jazz, he did kind of rhythm and blues and soul, and then he did country blues as well. Then Hans is just greatly missed. A very important person, and so he's always going to be my number one. He and Andreas always. Getting to see them live, was remarkable.
Do you make it up to Canada very often?
I've been. I may be coming back actually for a tribute night to Hans in September, but it's of course it's the one time of the year it's kind of ended up clashing possibly with. Something, a possible work thing. So it's which, as a writer, that is few and far between those things. So it's like I'm in the middle of kind of.
Is that in Edmonton?
Navigate. That's in Vancouver. That's where he moved.
Oh, Vancouver.
He was with
a lot
a band
warmer.
Edmonton.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, I love Vancouver. It's
a nice city. I was just there last year, and it was for the first time. It was very nice.
Yeah, really nice. Really nice place. It's wonderful. Hans Stamer.
Very good. Very good. I'm gonna check out his blue stuff for sure.
Lovely.
And,
I'll send
as
you some
much
stuff.
John Franks as I can get too.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, do we have any final thoughts here, fellas, before we?
I mean, I don't know. Just thanks a lot for being on the show, Paul. This is cool.
No, thanks for.
It was
thanks
neat
for
getting some
asking me.
insight into
It's
some of
lovely.
these old episodes and seeing what they may have missed and what may have got missed. And I really appreciate folks like yourself because I'm kind of one of these two that put a lot of thought into making sure that the people get the right appreciation, or at least the due for their
Definitely. I think it's important.
Yeah, for sure.
No, this has been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no. Anytime you want to come on and chat, drop us a line.
No,
maybe
I'll get you on the movie podcast.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk film for the night. Definitely.
Definitely do that easily.
Yeah.
Andre tries to turn every episode of this review show into a movie conversation.
That's right. I do.
Yeah.
And I often succeed.
I had to give him a little segment on the movie podcast just to.
I actually don't think I asked for that. I think you just did it because I talked about it so much. It's probably him trying to get me to shut up enough so to save it for the for the segment I got.
Without revealing any spoilers, what did you think of the you'll know the moment I talk about an Alien Romulus, the CGI bit?
Oh, actually, my two gripes with the movie are that because like the two biggest gripes I have with it, and they're not even huge. I really like the movie. I think I gave it like 3.5 on Letterboxd or something. Was that because like and the two times where they reference other alien properties.
Yeah, terrible.
Like I was cool with I don't want to give any spoilers out, but the thing that kind of leads towards the end, the fact that makes a return is really cool, I thought. But I was very happy about that because I really did like that movie, even though a lot of people don't. But I felt like because the CGI is not the best. Like it's still, I don't know if it's just the type of CGI or the deep fake ofness of it or whatever. I love that they tried to do it, but like the guy, Ian Holmes dead, like just let him stay dead. So
they brought somebody back again.
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah.
It's still all right. Like, and the other thought was that there's a line that the android what was his name? Andy says.
No spoilers.
That is very much harkens to something from Aliens that I don't think the movie needed. Really, really it seemed very shoehorned in, and I was like, it didn't make any sense to say it when he said it.
My issue with Mr. CGI, and you'll know who I'm talking about.
I just revealed it by accident. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, my issue with him is he can't be a model because otherwise he wouldn't have been a surprise to them in the last one. It would have just been like, well, he looks a bit like that model so-and-so.
Good point. Good. Well, I mean, this does take place years after that one, so maybe he became a model since. But I was kind of expecting it to be the other one, from Aliens, but I was just like,
he's been in so many of them now.
I know. So I was like, whatever. But I just don't think it needed it.
No,
because like it's only for us, the fans, and like I didn't need it. I would have been happy that just made it some random person.
Yeah, same. I mean, I liked seeing it in a way, but again, that's because I'm like him.
Well, I mean, he's a great English actor. In fact, have you ever seen the movie? I'm giving more spoilers, but have you ever seen the movie? You can follow the breakdowns.
All right, let's stop the spoilers here now. On that note,
anyway, have you ever seen the movie The Sweet Hereafter? Paul?
No.
Oh, it's a Canadian movie by Adam McGoyan, and he's in it, and it's very, very, very good. I highly suggest it.
I'll give it a go.
Check out Pontypool too.
That's a great movie as well.
I love Pontypool.
I
love Pontypool.
Yeah, I love Pontypool too.
Yeah.
I tell everyone to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On that note, catch you next time.
All right, next time.
It's only a coward like you would care about these people.
We love you, people.